Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to one of our Marvel Rivals Ignite qualifying game cast. I am once again Tetcher, and we have another double feature for you today. We are here in Asia, virtually. I didn't just travel to Asia for these games, although I wish. I do miss Korea. We have two games for you today. We have Imagine versus MVNEsports, and then we have Silver Rage versus BABYMONSTER. But we're starting off with MVN versus Imagine. These are best of threes. Let's get this going. Remember, these are the matches to qualify for the Marvel Rivals Championship. There is another match for the lower bracket here, so the teams that do get eliminated do have a chance to make their way back in and earn another chance. But this is to decide who at least qualifies for the games. On the left of being into Gala for our first game, it is Imagine, and on the right, MVNEsports, which is different to how they've spelt their name on the form. For maximum confusion and to make my life super easy, no issues, barely an inconvenience. Alright, we're starting off with the Hellfire as we head in to our first game. Also, just so you know, I've adjusted the game volume a little. I think it was a little quiet in some previous casts, so please let me know in the comments if it's a little bit too loud. While we wait for these bands to start rolling in, let's do our shout out to our YouTube members. Reminder, I'm recording this on the 5th of June because I'm out of town on the weekend. So if you became a member in that time, this is why you haven't had your shout out. It will be coming probably in tomorrow's video because I'll be recording that way after I am back. So we have Dump Alt, Lucas Tyson, Luminosity Gaming's Arso, Doki Pokey, and John. Thank you all so much for helping to support the channel and keep me in making videos. Storm and Hella are the opening bands. Long Range, Great Poke, and of course Hella with the Jeff Nado really starting to grow in popularity. Unless you're in Europe. Gonna have the Emma Frost and the Magneto protected, one each side. Ultron is of course available. Wolverine will be banned away, definitely giving a little bit of a boost to the Groot if need be, but also Magneto and Emma Frost can both be isolated pretty hard because they don't have mobility outside of Emma Frost having one dash in their diamond form. Imagine now with their next ban. These two teams both came very close in qualifier number 1. In qualifier number 1, MVNEsports got eliminated in their qualifying game by Assemble Fire, and Imagine also got eliminated in their qualifying game by Dopamine, two teams that are already qualified, and they're now back for their second attempt. Human Torch banned, Ultron protected. Iron Man still available, so we could see that combo. We've actually seen that quite rarely. We've been seeing a lot of Ultron play, but not actually seeing the team up with Iron Man that often. Mostly because it's banned. Loki going to get protected here. An Invisible Woman taken away. If you're going to be running Ultron, remove the characters who keep them topped up. Remove those flyer boosting characters. We've already lost two of most of the flyers here. We've lost Storm, we've lost Human Torch, we still have Ultron, we still have Iron Man available, we have Star-Lord who's a pseudo-flyer available. So we got some options here. Doctor Strange with the new buffs will be the one who is removed here.
Pick your hero or villain. I'm not
The Groot's
judging.
coming in. The Punisher has also had a huge spike in popularity this season, really starting to see a lot of play. Margin and Tienz both going to be looking over to that. Margin Boo versus Tien, who would win? Answers in the comments. Wrong answers only. Getting it set up. There is a Mantis being hovered here for the triple support. Triple strategist composition. Could be interesting. For now, We are meeting a lot of these teams for the first time, so let's do a quick roll call introduction. On the left-hand side, it is going to be Margin with Makta playing the Emma Frost. We have Margin on the Punisher. Vexus is playing the Loki. Shizu will be playing Ultron. Decapitate, we've definitely covered this team before, on the Groot. And Nert will be on the Iron Fist. Showing why they're called that, just a little bit to start. But I don't know if this will make it out the spawn. We will have to see. And on the right, it is going to be MVNEsports with True Tiger on the Groot. Blade Shah will be on the Ultron. A name I can't read, I'll translate it during the break, is on the Loki. Skinny Zeno is going to be on the Magneto. TNs is busting out the Punisher. And Hyel is bringing out the Mantis. And he shuts down range as the culling turret comes in for Margin. Trying to burst on through, but that high ground flank that we're seeing from MVN is making it a little bit difficult for them to step up. Imperative Firewall entering into the duel with the enemy Ultron as they trade back and forth. Both these teams running very similar strategies here. It is just the Vanguard difference. It is Emma Frost instead of Groot, and it is Mantis instead of Lunar Snow. Otherwise, identical rosters. The damage output being spread as the teams stay grouped up to make sure that that Ultron imperative patch keeps the team topped up. Here comes the first range of Ultron from Shizu. Blade on the counter, trying to match up here. Will get melted though. Final judgment from both sides. Margin focus down, and there's going to be TNs who takes the advantage. Too much damage coming in from the other side. The Groot trying to focus forward as here comes the Psionic Seduction from Makta to try and track down the members of MVN as they've lost all of their strategic ultimates. Media M for Skinny to try and just burst through that fate of both worlds, but it's just going to be eaten here. Nert keeping the team topped up. Margin has had to back away though. Will move up to the Loki so they can get a little bit of that healing on the high ground. No one has grabbed the point yet. This is still the first fight. The healing is a bit too much. Neither team is giving up. Makta dropped exceedingly low. They're starting to turn a lot of that attention. Max damage. Fully charged, melting through the Magneto, trying to get onto the point, straggling prison for Two Tiger as Margin and Shizu pick up a double. There's the counter for the side of MVN, and finally Margin will claim the point. And the first percentage of the game will start to tick up. Intense first round so far. Shizu begins to zone, sending shots down range. Margin playing a little bit further back. Doesn't want to get caught out of position. Before a fight really happens. Damage boost for Hyrule. Keeping the team topped up is trying to siege for range. Remember, it's not a hit scan hero. This is a projectile character, but it's still trying to aim onto those melee characters. Media M comes in. It's going to be TNs taking out Decapitate as they are cleaning up right now with that final judgment. Only able to get the double, not able to find the triple, but looking for it on the chase, on the retreat. Down goes Shizu and Makta. That makes it a quadruple, and they are staggered. Mountain Phase has collapsed, transforming the map, making this side entrance basically the only entrance. There is a ramp up to the high ground, but it's a little bit harder to pull off a good engage because you do have to enter through this almost entirely open area to get onto the point. Final judgment is coming in with the fate of both worlds. Rage of Ultron keeping the team topped up through that damage output as all the buttons are being pushed by Margin. But Meteor from Skinny Zeno picks up the double, and they're starting to drive back the members of Margin. Nerd dropping the second fate of both worlds after Vexus with that God of Mischief is able to drop the first. MVN are able to take back control, 48% to 33. Nerd in full retreat. Hyel is even joining in with the damage output here. The Loki staying very far back. Doing some good damage. Straggling Prison comes in for Two Tiger, setting up for TNs, who gets wiped by Decapitate. Here comes that counter push. Fate of both worlds from the Loki on the side of MVNEsports. They're going to try and turn this round. The counter engage. A little bit of damage from the rage of Ultron. Both of them going to be sending it out at the same time, trying to keep them topped up. All the strategist ultimates are now down. Margin has final judgment, but is far too low to take this. 87% currently in favor of MVNEsports as they are driving them back. Tienz takes out Mukta, decapitates this down, and Tienz is continuing to absolutely own these team fights. No portal. Strange was bad. That is going to be point number 1 going over to MVNEsports. And a warrior falls onto the Imperial Institute of Science for the comeback attempt from Margin. Let's do our quick name translation while we're waiting for the teams to show up. Waiting for the doors to open. Let's see if Google Translate, my usual method of trying to work out. It seems to believe it is "you're so unlucky to see me." We're going to call him unlucky because that name is too long.
No, but you should know magnetism doesn't work on super cool materials.
No compositional adjustments for the side of MVN, but Margin have decided to ditch the Ultron and are bringing out the Winter Soldier to try and help deal with this Groot. While the Punisher melts the wall, sets them up beautifully. Nice movement mechanics. The Winter Soldier can pull them out of their team, set them up for an isolated elimination, and that can allow you to turn around. Blade Shaft on this Ultron. Sending the shots in. Culling Turret is activated and immediately destroyed. Encouraged Firewall. Drone. Currently on the Punisher, keeping it on their hypercarriers. Again, they only really have 1 damage output. Why we're seeing Tienz do so much. Margin immediately, very early into the final judgment, we're going to try and take down the group, but the group walls are absorbing a little bit of this damage. Magneto has no hope, going down triple for the titular Margin as they push on in, looking for more, trying to take out Unlucky. But Unlucky will not be living up to their name today. They will escape. And they will not be going down. But that was a big ultimate being burned. Skinny did use Media M in that fight as well. So MVN, 1 less tool for the counter. Fate of both worlds available with the clone. Final judgment. And here they come, straggling Prison. Magneto blocks for a little bit, but just focused down, melted through. And with a single targeting, it's pretty good. But enough damage was absorbed by the Emma Frost there to prevent the pickup. Magda doing some great volleying for their team there. Blade, though, is so down the strategist, taking out Nerd, turns their attention onto Shizu. Using that Rage of Ultron to just poke the backline. Zone out the strategist, and that allows them to turn their attention to anyone who is on the point. Shizu making their way back in from the spawn. Tienz playing very far up here. On this high ground, making this building extremely unpleasant to be in. Needs a little bit of healing, we'll get it. Nothing too serious as of yet. Chew Tiger. Keeping the point zone walls to allow them to make their way up to the high ground to keep their opponent zoned. Spore Bomb not finding anything here. Here comes that God of Mischief for the Fate of both worlds. For Margin, as they're going to be prepared to move on in for their own counter engage. There's the Fate of both worlds. Final judgment. There's the commitment. Soul Rejuvenation coming in from High to try and turn this round. Media M. Not enough. It takes out High. Decapitate, sorry, takes out High. As Margin pushes on through. Shizu, Kraken impacted that fight as well. Found 1 reset. It's enough to wipe the team, but they're not going to find much more than that. Just get the eliminations. No more resets. But Margin begin to step up for the zoning position, even though MVN had what looked like a pretty dominant fight there. They did lose it, and Margin continued to control the point, 64-47. Blade coming in from above, Rage of Ultron to try and just burst down anyone It's good damage on the backline. Straggling Prison going to be coming out with the Fate of both worlds. No, sorry, Soul Rejuvenation coming in from the Mantis, from Unlucky as Tiens is trying to melt through, but Magneto shields plus the Fate of both worlds is proving too much to handle. They're forced to back away as Blade gets taken out. Keeping the pressure on. Onto Makta, who has a diamond form to get out as the flank from Margin gets the elimination here as they're going to start to regain the momentum over time, but they will be cleared off the point. Shizu will poke away a little bit, but main objective right now is to get the heck out of there. You don't want to stagger. When you're on 99, your opponents are creeping up behind you. You want to regroup, win one fight, and start the turnaround. This is the objective. MVN holding the line for the moment, but Margin beginning to try and push their way up, to try and make space. Good tracking, very nice damage coming in from Margin here. Shizu has Kraken Impact. Once again, Meteor M and Soul Rejuvenation available on the other side. Shizu drops exceedingly low, has to use the Soldier's Fist to get out of danger. Kraken Impact takes a Loki clone for reset number 1. Overtime starting to tick down. Margin have control at the point of the final judgment. Is thinking very hard for MVN to step onto the point, but they're going to try with their own Fate of both worlds with the God of Mischief trying to get the counter push. Final judgment. Meteor M is eaten, which means they keep pushing, doing huge damage. Mukta is melted as they try to get onto the front line as Magneto falls. Vexus dropping low, smoke bomb, and down goes Margin. Rage of Ultron to zone the rest, and it looks like MVN Fate of both worlds from Nerd to buy time. There's no portal, so they are just having to buy as much time as they can while their team tries to rush back in. Hulk, pretty reasonable rollout speed. A Captain America would be pretty reasonable for a rollout. Jeff, anyone who runs fast to try and buy time as they just rush in one by one, trying to buy time, but there's just not enough. They just feed in one at a time, and that is going to be game number 1, going over to MVNEsports. Exceptional work. Very well done. But this match is still pretty, even though it was a 2-0, this match still seems pretty even. And I think we'll see that when we look at the stats. Margin really came back in that second round. Let's have a look at this. Eliminations, slightly higher. 24 is the top for True Tiger, 24 Tien, who is our MVP. Shout out to Unlucky, really not living up to their name here. Only getting taken out a single time that entire game. Final hits, 12. Followed just shortly behind by the 9 of True Tiger and the 7 of Margin. Tien's hyper carrying on that Punisher here. And of course, being the solo DPS, will get the top damage. They had damage boost from the Mantis. They had the Ultron basically pocket healing them the majority of the time. Of course, the focus was onto the Punisher, just doing as much as they could. Top damage blocked is quite close. 2 people with 36k, but it's going to be the 38k of Decapitate, who's able to take home the bacon there on that Magneto. And the healing. 36k as well for Nert. Vexus a little bit further behind. But it's going to be the 27k of the Loki. That's the highest we can see. Again, it's a triple strategist. You expect to see the triple strategist composition have their healing a little more spread out. As such, MVN, every single one of their strategists fell a little bit further behind, as is to be expected. Alright, that is game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Why is my camera so yellow? I can fix that. Why it do that? Whose idea was this? Is it because of my settings I did for my green screen? I think it might be. I think I just might be yellow today. That just might be the case. But why, though? It'll do. This'll do. This is better. Yeah, my color grading settings just seem to change every time I cast. It happens, and also my green screening is not very good, as you can see. Alright, let's get set up for map number 2, ladies and gentlemen. And we have another series after this one as well. But first, we have to find out if E-Margin can even up the score, or if MVN will be qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. Looks like we're heading to Midtown for our second map. Hope you're as excited as I am. Reminder, if you're enjoying the video, to like, comment, subscribe, all the stuff that helps in the algorithm. I stream a lot of my casts now, so make sure you follow the Twitch in the description as well. And follow my socials. Everything's in the description except for the YouTube stuff, which like, comment, subscribe, hit the thanks button if you really like it, ring that bell so you can see when the news comes out. Hit the thanks button if you want to donate, member button if you want to get videos early and get shoutouts. That sounds like all the spiel I can come up with, so let's head on in to map number 2, MVNEsports. On the left, E-Margin. On the right. I'm going to check to see if like MVNEsports have like a website or anything. They do not appear to. So now I am confused. I do not know for sure if they spelled their name wrong, or I'm reading it wrong, or dyslexia has come back to bite me. For now, though, I'll have to go back and watch the cast I did of them. I'm going to see the Storm and the Hella getting removed once again. A mirror from last time. Will we see the Emma Frost getting protected for a second time? To join up with the Magneto. Yes, we do. So far, these drafts basically identical. But will they continue down the same route? Let's find out. The Groot is taken down. This is a very strong Groot map. That first corner is perfect for Groot to try and isolate Vision from your strategist to punish frontliners who step up. He's an amazing character here. Easily worth that ban. Invisible Woman taken out again, just in case. In case we do see a bit more of a flyer focus this time, Doctor Strange will be protected to make sure that they can make it back in a second time. Punisher still available, Ultron still available, Human Torch even still available. This is a fantastic Human Torch map. For the first and last point, you can do huge work. It's going to be Ultron, though, who will be protected. Final ban of E-Margin. With Ultron secured, they take out the Mantis. That damage boost was a little bit irritating. They probably do want to still punish it themselves. MVN, their final ban. Do we ban the Iron Man? We ban the Luna Snow. Really targeting the strategist this time. Luna, Mantis, and the Invisible Woman all taken away. Rockets even being hovered, but of course Loki left completely untouched. The big anti-dive, but this is Asia. They do play dive a significant amount less than, for example, the Americas. Or for at least a couple of the teams in EMEA. Rockets being hovered for both sides here. They, of course, no longer have that infinite ammo team-up. But the AoE healing can still be pretty reasonable here. And, well, these are mirror matches, except for one feature. Instead of the Emma Frost that Magda is bringing, True Tiger has chosen Strange.
You're a shooter like me. There's no shooter like me, buddy.
We'll have to see if that works out. Magneto has a knockback, but Strange prefers to be a little up close. Prefers everyone within range for that maelstrom of magic to get big burst damage.
The battle starts in
Emma, though, if someone is up close and personal, they might be able to lock them down and set up a pretty effective punishment. Mine's Aegis, they're once again going to try and control the high ground. Keeping the focus on True Tiger. Magda trying to set up an opening. Damage output pretty reasonable. We can see that Ultron drone the imperative patch onto the Strange, so they're slowly just regenerating while this is happening. But that's exactly what we're talking about. Strange getting a little too close, going to get focused down. Baiting Macta down to the low ground though, and then just cloak and levitationing themselves back up again. Very clever. Damage maxed. Keeping the pressure on. Making it difficult to justify the cost of staying in the right spot. Shoe Tiger. Building up that price of magic for the Maelstrom. Pushing forward, big burst damage, exactly what we come to expect. Regeneration Domain will be dropped here, as here comes the final judgment with the Cosmic Yard Amplifier to try and melt through the defensive position. Immediately, MVN are backing out of here. Blade with the extra damage from the Ranger Ultron. Shizu on the other side, which is allowing TNs to drop their final judgment. Ayamoto to shut down the shield, and it will only be one, maybe two, but it's enough to counteract the push and hold E-Margin back. Unlucky, went for the rocket clone there, giving them an extra Cosmic Yard Amplifier in that fight once the first one was destroyed. Giving them a little bit of extra sustain. Macta making their way in from above. Psionic Seduction onto TNs, but great magnetic bulwark here. Meteor M from Skinny, but it's going to be blocked out easily here. No one getting focused down. Margin getting focused down. Absolutely melted here. Staying mobile, allowing Nerd to keep them topped up on this rocket. Making sure everyone is healthy. Down goes Blade as Shizu and Shoe Tiger. Sorry, down goes Shizu as Blade and Shoe Tiger are able to focus them down. Here comes the final judgment once again. Regeneration Domains are making it very hard to burst on through as Blade takes to the sky. Trying to play evasive though, trying to dodge away from that final judgment. The range of Ultron damage is pretty reasonable, but it's absorbed thanks to that Regeneration Domain from the Loki. Vexus on point so far. Final judgment once again trying to melt through. This looks extremely familiar. But this time unable to find an elimination. But dropping the health bars extremely low. Smoke bomb, so get out of danger. Shoe Tiger trying to play on the high ground, being a little intimidating, but does not want to get caught out of position. Will back away. Decapitate. That's Maelstrom of Magic for a little bit of burst damage. Here comes the clone. Cosmic Yard Amplifier. Attempting to be countered by Shizu as they push on in with the range of Ultron, but it's being absorbed here. Shu pulled in, focused down. Ayamoto into the backline. They get it off, but they still are getting focused down. It's the range of Ultron plus the Media M taking out this Regeneration Domain Lancers, but they're not able to get enough damage to finish anyone off here. Shizu, the only one who went down, but they return at the BRB. Nut keeping the team topped up. Shizu poking in, they're finally able to get Skinny. Vexus sieging away. Skinny returns though, and no one dies for any length of time here. Blade goes down. There is no BRB this time, but Tien's looking for the counter, able to block the majority of that damage with that magnetic bulwark. The Iron Bulwark from the Doctor Strange, from the Magneto, sorry, as Tien's gets the double, but is taken down by Decapitate, who is now basically on the car, holding overtime alone. Need their team to come in. Margin making it in. Final judgment to try and secure point number one to melt on through. Psionic Seduction. Can't find anyone though. Finds the Strange hiding away under the car, buying more time for their team. They do go down. But this is given time for the remainders of MVN to try and get up and make their way in, but it doesn't look like they're going to hit there in time, as in overtime, E-Margin claim point number one. Good shots, keeping Macta topped up. Good shots. Taking out the local clones, just to remove at least some of the damage and the healing output as Fate of both worlds. Not available, sorry. It's going to be a double Cosmic Yard Amplifier, both from the God of Mischief. Blade playing a little bit further back. Both Ultrons have that range of Ultron. Here it comes, first one being dropped by Blade to try and zone them out in the doorway. There's 1 minute 49 seconds left for E-Margin to hit point number 2 plus overtime. Counter Rage of Ultron to try and burn on through. Media M takes them down with the bounce off the floor. Final Judgment to take them out in the hallway, to zone them out, burn even more time. Media M caught on the roof, not able to do any damage at all. Once again, Chu having that Eye of Agamotto being the tool, launching it into the back lane again, gets caught by the Emma, but the rest of their team has no such luck. Hyel keeping the team topped up with the Cosmic Yard Amplifier as E-Margin are cleaned out here. 1 minute remains.
Only 60 seconds left.
They're just under halfway through the map. They want to go further. Every inch matters at this stage of the game. With MVN already ahead, E-Margin need to get some distance. Here comes the Rage of Ultron. Texas's ult is fully charged, transforming into Rocket for a Cosmic Yard Amplifier. Psionic Seduction to try and catch MVN to break their siege. It's gonna be the Punisher getting absolutely eaten here. Cosmic Yard Amplifier from the God of Mischief, from Unlucky to try and keep the team topped up, and there's no one to use it as everyone has been zoned off the point. And E-Margin, they may have done it with 19 seconds left. They keep pushing in. They just have to win one more fight. Chew Tiger not even going to bother portaling. He knows they have a little bit more space to go.
Final 10 seconds.
Knocked back with the bad cannon. We're going to hit overtime. It's going to come down to this fight. If E-Margin win it, they'll claim point number 2 and get some extra seconds on the clock. If MVNEsports are able to clean them out, then that will put a stop to this, and we will be heading into the overtime. Sorry, into round number 2. Sorry, we haven't even had MVNEsports go yet. Here comes the Rage of Ultron and the Final Judgment with Meteor M. It's absorbed by TNs. Skinny not doing the damage they need. Margin trying to get the counter blow up, but no, TNs is the one who finds the elimination. Trying to clean out the front lines. Eye of Agamotto, 4-man stunned by Chu in the back line, gets the triple, and Chu may have single-handedly just cleaned out the members of E-Margin. Down they go. Delays on the point. Emma and Magneto both fall. Shizu's trying to portal, but there's just not enough time.
The current score is
As we swap sides just over halfway through the map,
time to switch things
is
up.
where the finish line is. If MVN can reach it, they take the 2-0 and will be qualifying for Marvel Rivals Ignite. Otherwise, we may be heading to a map number 3 if E-Margin can just hold the line. Got to see if they can do it, as we are preparing for round 2 of Midtown. E-Margin, by the looks of it, sticking with the same composition. Although Magda moving off of the Emma and onto the Strange.
30 seconds.
Tien's been doing so much work. Let's actually look at the halfway point here. Margin keep it up this time. 6 eliminations compared to Tien's 7. Damage output, Tien's though still 26k, is absolutely dominating on this Punisher.
How exciting.
As we are heading in. Let's see if Magda Strange is the tool that E-Margin needs to secure their spot in map number 3 and try and earn their spot in Marvel Rivals Ignite. Sending in the shots. Doing some good damage to start us off. Trying to control the high ground. So far, though, no one from MVN looks to be trying to claim the high ground. They're just moving right onto the car. Down goes the turret. Margin forced to back up here. And without Strange on the low ground, Magneto is getting out-meleeed here by Chew Tiger, who will be making their way up to the high ground to try and get a little bit of counter throw. Now they'll dive to try and punish those frontliners who are now grouped together. Maelstrom of Magic to keep the damage up. And these two front lines, the classic Asia front line of Magneto and Doctor Strange. They've been doing it since Season 0, and they're still trying to push on through Great sustain, get the Ultron drone. Imperative patch to try and keep the team topped up with the firewall. IL has the Cosmic Yard Amplifier, which they're going to drop nerds with their own Macta. Aya Magamoto finds nothing here, completely zoned out. As Blade takes to the sky. Rage of Ultron, mostly just topping up their team, focusing on the supportive aspects of this ultimate. Another Cosmic Yard Amplifier coming in from Unlucky. As MVN trying to make space. Margin just taking cover, waiting for that ultimate to expire as they bring out their own Final Judgment, getting Ultron. Trying to chase them down through the hallway. Everyone just took beautiful cover there. Strange barely keeping Loki up. Decapitate playing very far forward, has Media M, wants to keep them zoned away. They will be backing away. Final Judgment. Media M blocks out, but they take out the BRB that was hidden on that rooftop as they try to push on through, but the Magneto barriers are blocking too much regeneration domain. Aya Magamoto to try and focus onto Decapitate, who will fall here to Skinny. As MVN keep the pressure on, Margin is trying to counter DPS Smoke Bomb, turning around as Makta is starting to get a little bit outnumbered. Blade is rushing it in right now, doing huge damage. They're going to creep on forwards, Magneto on the flank. Point number one is going to be grabbed by MVN, making this a game of distance. 138 meters and 6 centimeters is what E-Margin achieved. MVN just have to push past it. There's that finish line. Magda and Decapitate moving into position to try and zone to buy time. We're taking off his rebuilds. Rage of Ultron for Shizu to try and burst on through. Blade with their own Media M comes out, does not find any targets. Final Judgment from Margin. It's enough to take down TNs, but they will be revived at the BRB. But will anyone else be as lucky? Cosmic Yard Amplifier gets melted here, completely destroyed. But not a single person outside of Blade, outside of TNs, went down, and TNs was brought back at the BRB. Starting to melt through that Doctor Strange. Make sure the shield is down before dropping into the Final Judgment to melt on through. Margin falls. The shield of Magneto drops. The Cosmic Yard Amplifier is completely melted, and Aya Magamoto's traded out, but TNs was still invulnerable at the time, meaning they can turn a lot of their attention onto that Doctor Strange to keep them zoned down, but now focusing on some distractions, but gets taken down by Decapitates, who spotted them just standing, still focused, landed the hits, and fires the elimination. Immediately, E-Margin moving back in. Another pickup for Decapitates. And suddenly, MVNEsports are backing up. IL's keeping their team topped up as best they can. They can see that culling turret backing away. A little bit of a shield from that Imperative Firewall with the bonus health. Here comes both Ultrons with that extra healing, but the Final Judgment from Margin melts through Blade so quickly. BRB will bring them back though, but now no one else can go down in this fight. If MVN want to try and contest this for much longer, Cosmic Yard Amplifier will be coming out from MVNEsports. They're going to try and commit to this. Loki with the clone before the first Cosmic Yard Amplifier expires, but this means they can place a forward one now, which they do, committing to try and to just double this up. I have Magamoto! Could be it! Focusing down the Cosmic Yard Amplifier as the Media M takes out Nerds. TNs gets them. Margin will return, which means there's at least some damage coming around from the back. Going in with the shotgun. Will hold the overtime. Looking for the rocket. Completely blocked. Final Judgment. TNs takes down Margin. Shizu is down. Decapitates tries to make their way in, but the damage output from the Final Judgment is just too strong. That is GG. And MVNEsports will be your next Marvel Rivals Ignite qualifiers for Asia. It's not over for E-Margin yet. They will get a second chance in the lower bracket. We'll be covering that game in a few days. But MVNEsports, they earn their spots alongside such teams as Genji and Crazy Raccoons, the teams from MRC. An incredible match. And an incredible win. MVP goes over to 2 Tiger. Very well deserved. The Zayavaga Motors were big. Hyel only went down 1 time in that entire game. It's definitely worth pointing that out. But eliminations, 23 for 2 Tiger. Only got taken out twice. 10 final hits, same as Tien's. 1 more than Margin. Top damage is still taken by Tien's though. 40k, 3k more than Margin, who got 37k. Top damage blocked. 56k Decapitates, who did such good work on those final pushes. They also got quite a few eliminations. 10 eliminations, 5 of which were final hits, second highest on their team. And top healing, both teams the exact same healing roster, so we can actually compare. Let's do it one at a time. In terms of the Lokis, 26k for Unlucky, 31k for Vexus. In terms of the Rockets, 37k for Nert, 35k for Hyel. As we come to expect, we do see the team that came second is getting slightly higher healing numbers. Also, Hyel got 1,755 damage done, which is a whole 1,100 more than Nert, who did 651, focusing more on healing. And then we have Bladeshah and Shizu, both of which got 22k, but Bladeshah able to snipe it this time, making 1 strategist with the higher number on the side of MVNEsports, as they get 22,400 compared to just 22,000 clean. And that is it for our game number 1, our series number 1 for today. Let's get you set up for our second. It's not over for our second team, for eMargin. They will have a second chance to qualify. And of course, all these teams have a second chance to qualify, as there will be a chance to make your way into Ignite Stage 2 by jumping in to MRC, which should be starting in 2 days at the time of recording, should be well underway by the time you guys watch this video. So, we are heading into our second series, Silver Rage versus BABYMONSTER. And we're starting off on Spider Islands for our first map of this series. Best of 3, winner qualifies. Loser, we now know, will go on to play against eMargin. Let's find out what happens as we head on in. BABYMONSTER on the left, Silver Rage on the right. Spider Islands in the middle. And Spider-Man will be banned away immediately. Let's see if we have any information on these teams from the previous qualifier. In qualifier number 1, neither of these teams made it into the qualifying rounds. So we know very little else about them. Both of these teams are a little bit more unknown to us. If we look at the names, we're not seeing much we recognize here. These are a little bit unknowns to us. We'll definitely do a full team introduction when we head on in. In order to get here, Silver Rage beat out Fate of Potato. And BABYMONSTER beat out I Hate Thing. Let's see who can claim victory, though, as we head into our first map. Iron Fist and Jeff. New Jeff. Patch happened. Getting banned away. The Jeffs, of course, a reaction to the Storm being protected by Silver Rage, preventing that Jeff Nado combo from coming in. A very DPS heavy ban phase right now. Iron Fist going to be banned away. Star-Lord, the Spider-Man, with Psylocke and Storm being protected, and Punisher. This is just a DPS party right now. Only one character who is not a DPS has even shown up in the picks and bans, and it's Jeff. And that's because of a DPS. Very duelist heavy setup. There we go. We got 1 Vanguard, 1 Strategist, and all the rest are duelists. Sounds like my ranked games. Wolverine banned away with Groot not yet showing up. Neither is Emma Frost. The Wolverine could have got some serious value, so it's a very sensible ban if they didn't want to deal with it. Human Torch banned away by BABYMONSTER. Both teams considering Ultron. Ooh, but a little bit riskier. BABYMONSTER going for a 2-2-2. This is very rare with the Ultron, but I've heard some good things. There are teams who believe it will work. Silver Rage, on the other hand, they're potentially moving away from the Ultron here, as they are looking at Hulk Namor with a Punisher. We'll see if that makes it out of Spawn. Let's introduce our players, ladies and gentlemen. On the left-hand side, in the blue trunks, is BABYMONSTER with Valkyrie. Valkyrie? It's Valkyrie, so it's going to be Valkyrie. Valkyrie going to be on the Invisible Woman. Had to pass that one out in my head there. Seamood is on the Psylocke. Jenkin playing the Hella. DP is on that wonderful Ultron. QR code. Scan it. Also that crosshair, though. They're going to be on the Thing. And Zins is playing the Emma Frost. On the right-hand side, I recognize this name. I recognize at least one of these players. It is Silver Rage with Remfleys playing the Loki. Lotring is on the Incredible Hulk. Star Rabito, great name as Lotring, takes out the Psylocke here. Star Rabito on that Winter Soldier. Deep Impact on the flank with this Namor here. The building blocking at least some of that damage here. Justin Davies, I think I might have cast him before. I think I have cast a lot of these players, actually. I definitely have. Silver Rage, Justin Davies on the Lunar Snow, and Ankosoma, who we've also cast on the Magneto. I've definitely cast these players before. Did not recognize them at a glance. So I know a lot more about Silver Rage than I do about the side of BABYMONSTER. Also, I'm pretty sure Lotring was Rotring, but that might have just been a mistranslation. They've actually just translated their name before for this season, which is good for me, because it means I can read it now. Invisible Boundary coming out as Kraken Impact for Star Rabito to try and burn on through, getting pulled in, focused down, and they will get blasted here. The Invisible Boundary shutting them down. Melting through that Namor, who is healed up to full force pull to prevent him getting back to their team to try and pull him out of the healing range. Dynamic flight. Hulk is trying to catch them, flying in here. Beautiful pickup by Deep Impact onto Valkyrie. Jenkins pushing on in, does the butterfly for Seamoon, trying to blast through, but that regeneration domain is shutting it down. Akasoma takes out Zins. Silver Rage are making so much space right now, and it looks like it's going to be enough to grab point number 1. Doctor Strange was not banned out, but they're not going to try the portal play either way. Sending in the shots. Jenkins sieging away. And the question you've got to ask is their choice to run Ultron as a second strategist as opposed to a third going to pay off for them, when right now they already lost point number 1. Deep Impact sieging in. Jenkins takes to the sky, sending in that Goddess of Death, getting kind of blocked by terrain. Nice shots through the gaps, but terrain will still shut down a lot of that engage. That frog statue in the way. DP trying to take out a lot of these monstros. Here comes the Hulk smash. Gamma Monster. Monster Hulk doing huge work, knocking around the Emma. QR code swapping off the Thing has brought out the Doctor Strange, as Zins took down Lotring by pushing them off the edge here. Clone comes out from Remfleys on the Lunar Snow, gonna fade of both worlds it. But without Deep Impact, and Akasoma also taken out here. This is more of just a delay, as Silver Rage will just be backing up either way. Valkyrie keeping the team topped up. QR code, Eye of Agamotto at the ready. Star Rabito sending in the shots as best they can. Much better. Justin Davies falls as well. Silver Rage really starting to struggle with their momentum at this early stage. They had huge momentum at the first push, but now just can't seem to find a gap. Justin Davies being focused down again. Will be able to sidestep. Goddess of Death, Jenkins takes to the sky, looking for the backline, looking for Justin Davies again. The Loki also almost getting picked off. But down goes the Goddess of Death. Ultimate economy, pretty even. It's 5-4. Akasoba taken out again. And Silver Rage, they just seem to be getting whittled down one by one. Slow elimination. Defeat by 1,000 pickups. Cracking impact for Star Rabito, realizing that there was an overconfident Psylocke that needed to be punished. Onto the backliners, but the invisible boundary will probably keep them a little too topped up, forcing Star Rabito to back away. Will not find the reset. Ultron is right up there in the air, but focuses their attention onto Strange instead. Ayavagamono comes on in, blocked by Magneto with that magnetic curtain. Beautifully Soldier's Fist through the tree, and QR code will get picked up here. Justin Davis in the fate of both worlds by the extra time. Good knockback from Zins, almost taking Star Rabito off the side. And spotting Seamoon, predicting where they'd be, and picking them off even through the invisibility. Lockring getting a little caught up, but we'll be able to back away. Indestructible guard. And Hulk smash going in to the backline to try and take out the Hela, which they do. Down to only 259 HP, but they can't seem to catch him. Too mobile, too much damage, gets healed up, and Lockring is able to keep their team going as they've zoned out completely. Deep Impact's been holding on to this ultimate for a while. They chase down Seamoon again. And DP has abandoned Ultron, moved on to the Lunar Snow. Going back to a more standard 2-2-2 setup here. Maximizing damage output. Soldier's Fist not even needed here as it's gonna be the Bionic Hook. Hold on to the Soldier's Fist for later in case anyone steps out of position. It is gonna be good to maybe push off the edge even. Groot for QR code to try and make it a little bit harder for them to push on up here as Deep Impact is looking on the flag, finds Hela. Monstro taken out. Got caught on the rotation here, which means Jenkins now has a lovely flank position. Oh, never mind. Hello. Forced to head into that Goddess of Death. Gonna try and siege him. Rabito sends in a couple shots, but it will be blocked out here. Goddess of Death will expire. Nice block with the Strange Crack and Impact. Rabito takes out QR code, pushes in further, but gonna get focused down by the Emma Frost there. What a turnaround. Deep Impact is once again left alone as a damage dealer. Horde of Proteus into the triple. It's going to be Silver Rage pushing on in. And they found the opening. They found the turnaround. And they are trying to push on in to keep them zoned away. Hulk to stun them down. Portals by Akasoba to keep them off the point as the card moves on in. Whoa, the knockoff there. Very nearly sending Deep Impact into the abyss. Sends out the Monstros in the doorway to try and zone them out, trying to take out Valkyrie! Ooh, able to use their float to buy time by Ayavagamono to keep them zoned off the point. Groot has to rush in to keep bodies on that point, to keep it held, but it won't matter as they're taken down. That's going to be Silver Rage taking the triple in game number 1.
2, 3. Time to switch things up, including which side you're on.
We swap sides. Baby Monster now on the attack. Silver Rage on the defense. They don't have to change much. Namor is going to be very effective on the defense here. And Akasoba was even considering offering moving over to the Hulk themselves. Let's look at the stats at the halfway point. Top eliminations, 23 for Deep Impact on this Namor, doing work, 10 of which were final hits. Top damage, though, is going over to Akasoba with 14k. 200 more than Jenkin, who's also on 14k, but it's 14k 200. And just a little bit ahead of Star Rabito, who's on 13k 800. Top healing, currently Justin Davies.
30 seconds before you attack. Get ready.
DP, currently the lowest healing output, but they were on Ultron for a lot of that game. But you can also look at their damage to compare. Walkery was also healing that entire game, but has more damage than DP, who was playing Ultron, and are now playing Ultron again. Or at least considering it. QR code is considering a Captain America. A little bit of backline dive potential. This is something that Namor can quite struggle to deal with. Cap's just a little bit too tanky to deal with in this 1v1 with the squid, so if Cap gets onto you, it can be very hard to get away as an Namor. Not impossible. A good Namor can absolutely do it. And if your team's paying attention, they'll be able to turn around and help you. But that's not always going to be an option. Deep getting focused down here as they will back away. Deep Impact playing very far back, just in their team, making sure they don't get caught out of position. Zinz has moved over to the Winter Soldier and is now triple duelist, double strategist, one Vanguard, and it's Captain America. BABYMONSTER have decided that extra aggression and more damage is the solution to this. But right now, they're just getting cleaned out because no one's protecting the backline because the front line was Captain America and is also gone. Silver Rage will just set up adjustment QR code. Moves over from the Cap onto the Thing as Jenkins going to be moving on to Hawkeye, but without the new Lunar Snow Teamer. Still sitting in some shots as they can, though. And will find some. Starabito getting picked off. Kraken impact for Zinz. Reset number 1. Got another reset, but taken down by Lotring. Taking a little bit too much damage in their front line. Drawing fire here. Deep Impact has gone on an insane flank here. Here come the Monstros. Damage into the backline. Horde of Proteus. Did nothing. I don't know what happened there. That was right on top of him. I think it got caught on the car. For some reason, that minute didn't hit. I don't understand that one. Jenkins sieging in. I am Agamotto from Akasoba to try and turn it around, and that is setting up for Rabito to just keep on resetting. Ooh, barely getting out. Tainted Voltage not going to land. They don't need to chase that, though. Let them regroup back up by time. Moon Knight coming out for Zinz. And this lack of beef, this lack of front line. Can't help but wonder, is this the choice? Is this going to work for them? Because right now, they don't seem to be able to find any openings. Nice and battle leap to get out of danger. Hulk Smash coming in for Lotring to zone out, to get onto the backline, do some big work. Coming in for the stun. Here comes DP with the rage of Ultron, but they're getting focused down themselves even. Regeneration domains absorbing a lot of that damage. DP is forced to retreat back into their teams. They can get healed up by their own drone. Imperative patch. An imperative firewall. Tainted Voltage sends DP down to the ground. And Gasoba playing like they already have Eye of Agamotto. High and assault from above. Here comes the Eternal Bond from Walkery to try and open up some kind of engage opportunity. Eye of Agamotto and Kasoba finds only one here, but it's enough as Deep Impact comes in with another Horde of Proteus as they push on through. 30 seconds remain. The attackers are getting eaten up here. A BABYMONSTER, what's left? 20 seconds. Could they portal? Only if they actually have someone on Strange. 15. It looks like they're just going to try and run it in. One more time. They've got the ultimates. You got to hit the buttons like right now. You cannot be waiting at this stage. Our QR code is going to be able to touch the point. All of this work is on them now. If they step off this objective, this is over. And BABYMONSTER will be having to make a comeback in map number 2. They are forced off the point. They are focused down. They are getting healed, but Seamoon is already down. Hunter's sight trying to take down the Sky Star Rabito, who was able to avoid the elimination, turn the attention onto Ultron, which will get the elimination. Kraken impact directly onto Moon Knight, and able to get the Hawkeye as well. Down goes the Punisher, and to finally take out the last body on the point, that is going to be game number 1 going over to Silver Rage as they hold at 112 meters, 0 points. The lead is established. Now, can they close it out, or will we see BABYMONSTER beginning a comeback? Because Silver Age, we've seen them before. I need to remember what team it was. Hang on, I can maybe check. Let's go to MRC. We want Asia. We want season, I believe it would be, let's just have a quick skim. Okay, hang on, show players. Give me Ankasoba. So I can work out where they were. If they were one of the teams that were written down, which I hope so. They were very good. Rip Asuko, not who I was looking for. Ankasoba. Okay, not that one. Let's try season 0. Show players. Ankasoba, Ankasoba, Ankasoba. Because I've definitely cast them before. The question is where? Momo, I remember them. Flicky Minaj, still one of my favorite names. Doesn't look like they were one of the teams that got put on the Liquipedia website. So unfortunately, I don't know for sure. But I've definitely cast them. I need to literally go back through my old videos to find out. So unfortunately, that's not something I will be doing between this game and the next one. So unlucky there. But we do still have more games to come up. We're only game 1 into this best-of-3 series. There could, in theory, be 2 more games after this. Let's look at the stats before we move on. Look at the difference in eliminations here. 3 people with over 30 on the side of Silver. Whereas BABYMONSTER, no one even hit double digits. Top eliminations does go over to Ankasoba with 33. Top final hits, 19 for Star Rabito. Top damage, 23k for Ankasoba again, beating out Star Rabito. Jenkin was the closest behind them with 20k. Top damage blocked. The one person who had to solo tank didn't even get top damage blocked because they were just focused down 100 to 0 with no one able to keep them up. It is, in fact, going to be Ankasoba with 43k. Ankasoba, well-deserving MVP here. Tied second most, least amount of times getting eliminated, sorry, as Remfleas will snipe the actual top spot. And top healing. Going to be the 31k of Justin Davies, just stealing it away from Walkery. And that is game number 1 in this best-of-3 series. Let's see what we have set up for us in game number 2. I'm really a little irritated that I could not find Ankasoba. I want to know, but unfortunately I am being denied. I'm looking for like Justin Davies, having a quick skim. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I am a curiously natured boy. I must find out the information. They weren't a console, were they? Oh my god, they were console! I'm amazed I worked that out! Okay, I have to look. I have to look to see if they're controller players. Ankasoba and Remfleas, they were part of Hope. Which likely means that, like, Justin Davies is here as well. There's Deep Impact, part of PS4 group, the console champion. So it's like first and second place. There's Justin Davies. Oh my god, they're the console champions and second place team. Oh my god, that's great. The console champions bringing it back. That's fantastic. Ah, that's absolutely brilliant. Love to see it. That means there's a chance that a console champion team... I need to look to see if they're still console in game number 2. I have to see. Because this means that if Silver Rage win map number 2, or lose map number 2 and win map number 3, then we're going to have ex-console champions as a team in Ignite. And that's hype. Let's see if they can do it. We're heading on in, ladies and gentlemen. And I remind me to look. I know you guys are in the future and I'm in the past. But remind me to look. Silver Rage on the defense now. BABYMONSTER on the attack. On Symbiotic Surface. BABYMONSTER, if they win, they even up the series. And we head to a map number 3. If Silver Rage win, they qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite. And BABYMONSTER will be sent down to the lower bracket for one last chance versus E-Martian. Spider-Man and Iron Fist are once again going to be banned away. So much focus on the banning. Storm protected once again, which means we're kind of going to have to see the Jeff ban if they don't want to deal with this a second time. But no, Hulk ban this time, meaning Silver Rage could protect the Jeff. Psylocke. Removed. Protect the Jeff. Do it. Do it. Jeff Nado it. Wait for it. There are other options. There it is! Jeff Nado on the board. It is potentially the most broken ult combo currently in the game. Or just the most broken ult. There's not really any counterplay right now. You just have to, you know, have Storm and Jeff on your team, who aren't terrible characters right now. It's very good. There's a reason it's banned down a fair amount. There's that Punisher. Iron Man is a great counter to this as well. I honestly think BABYMONSTER may just want to Iron Man Ultron again. Actually pick up the Iron Man this time, and the way you deal with that Jeff Nado is to hit it with an invincible pulse cannon point blank. Magneto is also a reasonable counter, so Silver Rage, ban out Iron Man. The interesting choice, but it could be very difficult for Storm to deal with outside of the battles. It's still a strong hero. But yeah, Silver Rage, I would have said maybe ban out the Iron Man, potentially ban out the Magneto. Meteor M could have been a great setup counter. We are seeing Jeff and Ultron with Deep Impact moving off of the board without that Hulk. And we'll be playing... Oh my god, look at this! Console player, PC player, PC player. Oh, that's another console. Also a Penny Parker, baby, with the new team up with Rocket. And console. We had a load of the console players buy PCs as we went on in. But yeah, these are the ex-console champions for Asia. I knew I recognized their names. Angasoba going to be setting up those defensive positions, spreading the web. They are going all in on Penny. Where are the mines going? They've set up the webs, but where are the mines? There we go, just covering the whole area. Seamoon, even without the Star-Lord, they've decided that they still want to add a Warlock. We're going to have a portal turret set up here. Not the best angle. Yeah, can't see anything. Portal's gone. Not able to get a lot of value out of that. As such, quick retreat out of the side of BABYMONSTER to make their way to the point. And Silver Rage, they just took cover and are now starting to duel, trying to take out Zins. In the backline, finding a hidden Ultron, taking them down. Star Rabito. Angasoba gets the elimination onto Jenkins. The Penny. Not landing the stun, but looking for it up to the high ground for a better position and to wrap around. Trying to track that cloak and dagger. Will land the finishing blow. Renfrey snipes it from him. Cancelling that Penny mine spot. Where are they going to put these? Okay, that's the one that gives armor. There's the one with the wider area. Once again, going to spread that out, place a couple mines, prevent anyone from stepping out onto the point. And keeping their attention onto their opponents. Keep them zoned. This is a very heavy strategist. They learned their lesson, BABYMONSTER, and they are going triple strategist with Adam and the Ultron here. Both the highest damage strategists in the game. Renflees is still charging their ultimate as Starabito with the Windblade takes down Seamoon, which will come back from the cocoon, but Lotring will wipe out DP. Here comes the Eternal Bond. Ultimates are available if they want to try and go in for the setup. Media M trying to focus onto the Cloak and Dagger, but will not find it. Starabito goes down. Comes back at the BRB. Here comes the Omega Hurricane, allowing Renflees to enter into the Jeff Nado, but they've already cleaned out everyone. Point still remaining defended with the Zap, taking out Zins, and everyone else is forced to retreat. That's a lot of ultimate to burn, though, for just that much, but they're still finding the pickups. Jenkins goes down. Starabito is playing this Storm incredibly well. Taking cover, Seamoon does have a hit scan here. If they can land some of these hits onto these flyers, then they could potentially get a big turnaround. The damage output, they have 2 hit scan heroes. Here comes Rage of Ultron for DP. Trying to siege onto the backline, trying to get onto Renflees or Justin Davies. Not able to land the finishing blow. Imperative Firewall. In comes Ankasoma on the Emma Frost to try and zone him away, who's swapped off of that Penny Parker as QR code. Aya Magamoto getting zoned down, but Justin Davies will still be the one to fall as Zins drops the stun there with the Silent Seduction, but gets taken out before they can use it. Deep Impact forced to back away. Right now, this is starting to look a little rough. Here comes Strange. Agasoma is having to hold this as that Karmic Revival is buying a lot of time. Agasoma needs the healing. They're trying to touch it. Jeff Nado to clear out the point as they try to put every bit of focus they can onto it. But no, they are focused down. And it looks like with the portal in from QR code, BABYMONSTER have claimed point number 1. And the Jeff Nado is not finding targets. BABYMONSTER, one of the few teams we've seen so far who seem to be playing into this with any level of plan. And it's working. They're absorbing the hits. They're turning this round. Lotring making their way back to spawn. Gonna swap character here. It's a long walk. What's the swap? Magneto. Okay. Giving the team up value. Walkery. Keeping the team topped up on this Cloak and Dagger. They're doing some huge work so far. I love the little daisy crosshair here. Rage of Ultron traded back and forth as Deep Impact comes in as well for the counter. Damage output's pretty good. Not enough to land a finishing blow as Jenkins is looking for headshots. Yet another hit scan character. And yet, Deep Impact is still tagging through a lot of these engagements. Psionic Seduction pulling them in here. Deep Impact took out Jenkins. Finds Aegis. Focus pushing back Zins. The Silver Rage not finding much more. Silver Rabito will get another pickup. But it's slow and steady so far. Psionic Seduction. Speed boost. Getting Starabito out of range. Keeping the damage output going. They have Omega Hurricane. Renflees has it's Jeff. Will they go in for another Jeff Nado? You can see DP is trying to go for the counter. Media M for Lotring. Block it out as best as they can. Goddess of Death is making this very difficult to engage onto. Focusing down onto the Cosmic Yard Amplifier. Here comes Rabito, though, into the backline. Jeff Nado gets one. Aya Magamoto to try and get the counter set up here, but it's going to be Strange. Focus down. Emma Frost able to absorb as much as they can with that diamond form, but it will be enough. The first, I would say, fully impactful Jeff Nado. Team strategist in fast retreat. Seamoon goes down. Trying to get onto Walkery. 10 seconds remaining. Portal for QR code to get them there, but they need to touch the point. Very nearly not. They didn't touch.
The current score is 0
Oh boy. They portaled, but they portaled a little bit too far away, and as such, Baby Monster's push comes to an end. And Silver Rage, they now just have to hit essentially point number 2. Just a little bit further. Looks like they're going to be sticking with the same strategy here, although they're considering their vanguards. As both Lotring and Agasoba both seem to want to play Magneto. We're heading in. Justin Davies sticking with that cloak and dagger themselves here. Keep the team topped up. And Lotring will bring out the Emma Frost, giving Agasoba the Magneto. Jenkin on the Winter Soldier here. DP, moving away from Ultron, has decided the Invisible Woman is the choice they need. And Zins, oh my, what is happening here? They have no Vanguards they're about to potentially knock. QR Code is about to solo Vanguard again. They just picked up Iron Man when they don't have Ultron. Wolverine. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. All right, we're back to aggression. Triple strategist, double duelist, 1 Vanguard. This strategy, well, it's better than quadruple duelist, 1 Vanguard, 1 strategist. It's better than that, I guess. But any solo Vanguard or solo strategist composition is in itself essentially flawed. We almost never see them unless we have another character that is taking the role of a Vanguard. In this case, it would be a Magic, a Wolverine sometimes. Anything like that. Or Mr. Fantastic, perhaps. As right now, QR Code, though, is playing hyper-aggressive and is going to try and make it happen as they are going deep in. Jenkin finding the elimination. Seamoon is on the Iron Man of their own here. They're going to try and bring this out. They're back to triple duelist. No longer on triple strategist. So this composition is just slowly getting more jank. But DPS just trying to finish them off, trying to take him out. But it does mean that their reactions to a Jeff Nado is now essentially getting destroyed. Although they're still cleaning up, though, the damage output. Silver Rage are the ones who don't seem to be adjusting here. Jenkins takes out another elimination. There's a Captain America from Lotring now. 65% for Star Rabito's charge. They are having a rough go of it this time. Lotring, realizing that there's triple duelist, in the backline, is going for the patented strategy of run and hit them very hard. Making their way onto the point. Here comes the Rage of Ultron into the backline to try and burst down anyone. Jenkins will be a huge target, but the cloak is good, but Jenkins will still fall. Rabito has the ult, and they're going to try and burn this right now in the invisible boundaries with Jeff Nado to try and wipe out the defenders. Anyone who touches that point is going to get focused, and the damage output is good enough. They've cleaned out the objective to charge up almost that first third. The Wolverine is surviving so aggressively here. What a play there by Zins, but it's not enough. And slowly they're getting cleaned up. A cracking impact from Jenkins. Makes it 2, is evening up the score, but Psionic Seduction will shut it down. And Kosoba to lock down the Captain America, and that will be, unless we see a portal, point number 1 going over to Silver Rage. Unless they're going to let this happen. Baby Monster move back into the defensive position. QR Code onto the Groot. Nope, the Thing. Siege again. They've still not brought back Ultron, even though they have the team up now. Give Ultron that little bit of bonus healing. There's the finish line. Sending in as much damage as they can. Melting through Lotring as best they can. Starabito poking away. And Kosoba leading the charge. pushing on in with Starabino finding the double with the help of the Rage of Ultra. Invisible Pulse Cannon takes out Deep Impact, but that's about it as Lotring is charging in to dive the backline, clean them out by time. Shield bounce to track down Deeply, takes them out here. Now onto the Wolverine. They can see the Iron Man retreating out of there as well as they're trying to buy time, trying to delay, trying to distract, give time for that cart to move on in, which it is doing, creeping up to the point with another Jeff Nado about to be available. This final push, as long as Starabito stays up, as long as they get that cart onto that final push, they might be able to clean out on the defensive position. Jeff Nado, the defenders are melting, caught in a maelstrom. And it's a cleanup. The cart moves in. No one's even close to stopping it. Silver Rage take game number 2 and will qualify for Marvel Rivals Ignite. The former console champions and runners-up have come to play. They saw the PC players invited and said there's more than one team that can make their way in. There's more than one champion of Asia. Let us in. What a setup. Congratulations. That is a huge win. I'm so impressed. Silver Rage. Smashing through there. Starabito takes the MVP. 26 eliminations, 18 of which were final hits. That is almost the entire enemy team's worth of final hits combined. As they add up to 22 total. If my maths is correct. It's probably not. I'm pretty sure it is, though. Least amount of times getting eliminated. Angosoma and Remflees both only going down twice. Top damage will, of course, be Starabito. The solo DPS for that composition. Just absolutely melting fools on that storm. 23,000 damage. Next highest is 18k, and that was Jenkin, who put on a clinic on that Winter Soldier, by the way. SVP, 12 final hits. It was what they needed to try and make the recovery. It's the drafting that I had a bit of a question about. Damage blocked. 30,000 for QR code. Solo vanguarding again, but this time able to out-tank Lotring and Ankosoba. Top healing. 24k for Walkery. Once again, sniping the top spot. Able to sneak on in there. Justin Davies on the rocket, by the way. 15k healing. 800 damage. Classic rocket move. We love to see it. But the fact is, they got so many revives. They did exactly what their team needed. Just good job. And with that, our games for today are ended. I have rolled so far back. I needed space to flail my arms during that game. But we are at the end of those qualifying games. We have Silver Rage and MVNEsports qualifying for Ignite. In a few days, I will do a couple of the runner-up games. I will probably include the Asia games in with another region, just to make sure the numbers equal out, because otherwise we're just going to have one separate cast to see who else makes it between BABYMONSTER and who did MVN play against? E-Margin. That's it. So stay tuned for that. But tomorrow, what are we on actually? I think tomorrow is Oceania, if I had to guess. Which I think we have to skip because Oceania's done. Yeah, we've covered that. So it's going to be like EMEA or the Americas again. So make sure to check that out. And reminder, subscribe, like the video, say nice things in the comments. That would be nice of you. I like nice things in comments. Like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell so you see when these videos go live. Hooray? Yeah, hooray. We take that. And of course, just be generally nice to people, that would be very appreciated. You can become a member to get your name called out in videos. You can become a sub when I stream these videos on Twitch, which will also get your name called out in a video, just in a live format. That would be appreciated. Also, you can, come see me doing this live. Sometimes I'll be recording, sometimes I'll be editing, sometimes maybe I'll do watching reactions to other esports stuff. That could be neat. I might enjoy that. So, yeah. Come hang out. Do that. It would be appreciated. But for now, I have been Tetcher. Oh, and follow my socials. They're in the description. Just in case stuff happens. For now, though, thank you all very much for watching. I have been Tetcher, and I will see you all tomorrow.